Good afternoon. Welcome to the tea table. I am so happy you've joined me today. Have you ever had a day where you try to do something and you get obstacles in your way? Well, that's what happened on my tea talk today. But I think they're overcome now. I'm hoping. So if you haven't gotten your tea yet, please pause and get your tea. And I'll be waiting for you. I have a really special tea set today. It is Semper Fi. It is very heavy. Oh, I can barely pick it up. And the pot has eagles. It has a silver eagle and a symbol of the Marines on it. And I have a son who is a Marine, was a Marine, and a son-in-law who serves as a colonel in the Marines, and an uncle that was a Marine. And so I think this is appropriate for our family to have this set. I have a special teacup today. I'm combining romance and 4th of July. This is the Empress Hotel. I think I've had it on here before. It has the crown, and it's the tea set that was from 100 years ago at the Empress. Well, on our 25th wedding anniversary, my husband bought me this cup. And I'm going to, whoa, the tea is strong. Oh my, that pot, I need a butler to pour that tea, a strong one too. Isn't this just gorgeous? Oh my goodness. And this spout has a face on it. Do you see? It's a very special set. And I'll tell you where this set came from. You've met Elizabeth, our friend on the tea table. She found this for me and brought it to me. She said, this is for you, for the tea table, because it has all the military insignia and it's for the 4th of July. So, let's try our tea. I need this tea. Oh my goodness, that's good. I combined 3 different kinds of tea. Oh my goodness, that's lovely. I have a little scarf that's kind of like a napkin on the tea table also today. And I have flags. These are from my dining room table. Little vases with carnations and an American flag. They're matching. Isn't that sweet? You know, I'm discovering you can just stick the flag in anything and it works. Now, I have something really cute. This is old-fashioned Americana. Everyone knows what that represents. It's a tea towel with a 4th of July little trailer. Oh yes, in England they call them, oh, your caravan, and the flag, and they're going camping. Isn't it adorable? Everyone wants a camp table camper in July. Oh, they're so wonderful. I wish we had one. We don't have one. My mother-in-law used to have one, and we all went camping with her, and it was so much fun. And at the time, because I was the one that had the new baby, I was selected to sleep with my husband in the lovely camp trailer, and everyone else was in tents. That was so fun. But she had another camp trailer that was, oh my goodness, one of those fabulous classic, the ones that are silver metal with the all wood lined, and it was a small one, and she had it set up in her backyard when they weren't using it. And I remember I visited them in Port Orchard, his family, and we went and sat out in that little camp trailer when it was raining and did our homework with tea and coffee. And it was so cozy. So it can become a little guest room if you have people that, or you can use it for a study room, or what do they call those? I can't remember. They're the classic ones that are all metal on the outside. This was a real old one, and it was in tip-top shape. I need this tea so much. I've had a big day already, and we haven't started. But I have treats, homemade. And I'm taking them to the 4th of July today. Homemade banana bread with oats, and then my homemade skorpa. My famous, it's like a biscotti, but it's Norwegian, and I put red sprinkles on it. And I'm wearing a red shawl today, and a navy dress, and a white necklace, so I've got my red, white, and blue. And I'm just enjoying Americana, and the weather is gorgeous. This is the first day I would say I woke up and I smelled summer glory. This is why we live in Washington State, for days like this. Yes, we pay the price of a lot of rain to get the green, green, green days of summer. Yes. But every area has its beauty. But July and August, best months, and September for us. Well, I thought July is vacation month, and I found this bag. It's so fun. It's just a wonderful over-the-shoulder or carry-on bag. And it's navy and white, and I thought this is 4th of July. Going to the beach, going on a little holiday, going on an overnight, going on a day trip. Everything can go right in there, and I love navy and white. My father was Norwegian, and he loved navy and white. And I think it's because his grandfather, which would have been my great-grandfather, Pedersen, up in the Lofoten Islands, was a sea captain fishing. He had fishing boats, many boats. And my grandmother told me he wore the blue and the hat and the brass buttons, and everything on their boat was ship-shape, freshly painted, freshly sanded wood and with varathane, and it was silver and linen and copper and brass, everything shining. And she told me that once a year, she and her sisters would and I'm assuming wear their Norwegian costumes and go down to the boats. And it was time for inspection, and they would go on the boat and have coffee. And it was very formal and very, very special. And that's that navy and white. There's nothing like it. And our flag is so beautiful, the most beautiful flag in all the world. We are so privileged to be Americans. And this morning when I was having my coffee, I thought, God, thank you so much that I live in America. I was having my coffee in a red pot, and it looked just like the 4th of July. But I use that pot every day. My method is I make a pot of coffee, and then I pour it in my ceramic glass pot, which is red, true red, and I put a tea cozy on it to keep it warm. And I have about 3 cups. And then if anyone comes, they can have, I never can drink all of it. Well, the reason that I am romantic today is because my wedding anniversary, our wedding anniversary, is July 7th. And so we always seem to go to Victoria, BC during that time, kind of around the 4th. The reason we got married on the 7th was actually I was going to get married on the 1st, but the minister's wife said, the 1st is the 4th of July weekend. So we went for the 7th. And it worked perfect because guess what it was? 7, 7, 78. But in 7, 7, 77, my husband proposed to me. So we were all about sevens. And then we had 7 children. So the 4th of July and summer in Victoria, BC all go together. And so I can't go to the Empress yet. I'm still struggling to get my enhanced driver's license. So I'm going to probably break down and just get a passport. But as soon as I do that, we're going over to Victoria. Haven't been there since the COVID lockup. They didn't require passports before, but now they do. Or an enhanced license. So, for anyone having wedding anniversaries in July, happy anniversary. Wonderful time to get married. The days were long, the sun was streaming. My wedding was at 7 o'clock and the sun just streamed in the window. We were married at St. Mark's Cathedral in Seattle. And the rose window, which is replica of something from England, of course, it's just gorgeous rosette window. The sun just streamed in. It was a wonderful wedding. And one of the highlights was, we had a bagpiper. And then the man that my husband bought my diamond from Carol's Jewelers in Seattle. Wonderful man. He was in his 90s, Mr. Carroll. And the family had owned the jewelry shop for over 100 years on 4th Avenue. There was a clock in front. Old-fashioned and absolutely the service. He served us coffee in china cups and silver pot and special little pastries he had made for all his customers. Well, he told us, he said, I always provide a car for all of the people that buy a ring from me. Well, we didn't really know what he meant. Well, here at our wedding comes up a 1929 Rolls Royce with a little footman, his nephew or his grandson, all dressed in formally, and a driver. And it was such a hit with the wedding because we went from St. Mark's Cathedral on Capitol Hill, Seattle, to the First Baptist Church for our reception, which was about 5 miles. So everybody followed, and it was daylight, and everyone saw this car. It was so enchanting. It was such a gift from God. And then I got in, and Mr. Carroll had wrapped a gift, and it was a little heart-shaped silver candy dish for us to start our life together. Well, I used to send him Christmas cards, and I used to send him baby announcements. And do you know that for every baby, he sent us a silver cup engraved with their name and date of birth. And we have all of them in a collection. What a wonderful, wonderful gift. And the last time we saw this man, Mr. Carroll, he was a little man, short. He was not more than 5'5" at the max, and maybe 5'4". And he drove this huge Cadillac. Now this is in the 70s, and it was an old Cadillac. probably from the 50s, in immaculate condition. And he said, I'm 95, I work from 9 to 5, and I drive my car, and he parked right in front of his shop. And he was going to work every day. Is that just inspiring? I think that's the secret. You know, we don't want to lose our momentum. When you've got a good momentum going, keep going. That's what I'm learning. I'm learning that because, you know, I told you a few weeks ago I declared summer kind of like, for me, get off the merry-go-round and relax. But I don't want to lose my momentum either. So I'm doing a lot of other things that I was not able to do. We can't just sit around. No, that's not right. Well, last weekend, my husband and I went up to Bellevue to a dear, dear friend of ours that had a birthday. Well, it was at her mother's house. Her mother is 98. Roseanne. Her name is Roseanne Salee. Beautiful lady. Sparkling blue eyes. Completely with it. She drives her car, lives in her house. She was serving us food. She goes to an exercise class every Monday at her church. I said, Roseanne, you are such an inspiration. And what I noticed about Roseanne was she's very green, fresh. She's curious. She looks you right in the eye. She wants to know all about you, what you're doing. She's other thinking. And the house she's in, they moved in the 1960, and bought it for $30,000. Her husband was a Boeing engineer. She's lived there ever since. Well, the house is worth millions now, you know, Bellevue. But she doesn't want to move. But around her, all these big houses have been built. People buy the small, older one, mow it down, and build these huge 3-4-story houses. But she said, I love my house, and I don't want to move. Good for her. She has all her bedrooms on one floor. It works perfect. She had a little formal dining room we all sat at. It was so lovely. I just can't tell you what an inspiration. I'd love to have her on this Tea Talk and introduce her to all of you. Yes, because she has truly something to say to us. Yes. Wonderful. Well, have you been having a good week? I'm going to take a little more tea. You know, I haven't eaten anything today yet. I've just been kind of thinking I would just wait until we have our 4th of July festival. Now, normally we have it at our place, but this year our son is hosting, and it's really nice, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to being a guest. I'm usually the hostess, and I love it. I love having people, and I love all of that, but sometimes it's nice to have the other side and have a little break. So we're going to have fun. And that I heard the firecrackers going all night last night. Down on the Hood Canal, where my son is building a cabin by the Alderbrook Inn, that is where Bill Gates puts on the big show every year, and they did it last night. I'm sure it was spectacular. At the Hood Canal, the Alderbrook Inn, where he puts them off, well, his house is right next door. Then on the other side is the Nordstroms, and it was Paul Allen's house. And so, you know, they're all there where the view is so beautiful. And you look across the Hood Canal to the Olympic Mountains, the sunset. And this time of year is the best. The best place is the Hood Canal. I've known many people who loved the Union. It's called Union, the little town near Belfair, tried to live out there all winter. That's hard. It's a summertime place. And you know, it's where the movie Robin Hood was filmed in 1930s with Errol Flynn. It was filmed down there in those woods. And you can see why it is so beautiful. And because of that, they have a little Robin Hood hotel or motel there. And many of the Hollywood stars came up to this area, saw how beautiful it was, and bought property. John Wayne bought property in Sequim. There's the John Wayne Marina there. Wow, this tea is just healing me. There's nothing like a good cup of tea. Nothing. Well, I want to talk a tiny bit about America and about John Adams. John Adams was one of the founding fathers, and he became president of the United States. His wife, Abigail, is a fascinating woman. She was highly educated. They were both highly educated. They knew Latin. They knew Greek. He was known, both of them, for reading the classics in Latin and Greek in the morning. Very, very disciplined man. He was the father of also a president. And so he's very unique. But John Adams, he's a real spicy person, feisty and very well spoken, very well written, very well read. He said something very interesting. He said there are two holy Christian holidays in America. And you know what he said they were? Christmas and the 4th of July, our liberty. He said it's very much like coming out of Egypt, getting free from Pharaoh and the Red Sea. And then the establishment of the law is very similar to our Constitution establishing the law. And our Declaration of Independence is based on the Bible, that all men are created equal. Yes. Without true biblical Christianity, you could never have America. Without the Protestant Reformation and a Martin Luther, I don't see how you could ever have America, not in the time frame. Because that's 1500s. By 16, Bibles have been translated. People have been reading now for 2 generations Bibles. That gave them understanding that God was king and they were free, and that all men are created equal, and the ground is level at the cross. God looks at the heart, man looks at the outward appearance, or the outward, whether you're a king, a prince, a pauper, whether you're black, white, rich, poor, young, old. God does not look at things the way we do. No. It says, man looketh on the outward appearance. God looketh on the heart, the motive, the intent. Isn't that beautiful? That's what America was founded on. Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the Declaration of Independence and was also a great president, he founded the University of Virginia. He said the Bible must be the center of all education. And they were building churches at the time he was in the White House. And so he said, well, we're waiting for that church to be built. We will have church in the White House. And they had church every Sunday. You can look it up. These men were biblical scholars. They were not just shallow students. They were deep students. They had all been generally educated in the classics, which included Latin, Hebrew and Greek, and they understood mathematics. They were brilliant. The penmanship alone, when you look at the signing of the Declaration of Independence, each signature is so beautiful. The penmanship, the artistic ability. And I've talked about Thomas Jefferson on this Tea Talk before. He was a Renaissance man. So was Benjamin Franklin. Thomas Jefferson invented the coffee pot. Thomas Jefferson designed Monticello. He was an architect. Thomas Jefferson played the violin. Thomas Jefferson was a brilliant scholar. He wrote the Declaration of Independence. Yes. We have a heritage that is so rich and golden and beautiful. I think we should all dedicate our summer to studying the Founding Fathers and study original writings. Don't study what just somebody has said about them. When I attended the University of Washington, I was doing an undergraduate degree in history. I had a class called American Rev, and it was actually taught by a British man, Professor Johnson. And we had about 14 books that we bought just for that class. In those days, books were a normal price, and you could go to the half-price bookstore and get them too. So it was affordable. I have all those books. I kept all of them because they are all so good, because they were original writings, original documented writings of the Founding Fathers and of people surrounding the Founding Fathers, because there were so many, like we have Twitter today, or X they call it, but in those days people would write tracts because the printing press had been invented and they were all able to read and write. They had all become skilled in the basics of that, and they all had an opinion, and they felt it was their moral duty and responsibility as Americans to write tracts. And so they would write these little 5 or 10 page tracts and print them and pass them out. There's thousands. There was so much prolific writing that you can't read them all. But I have a wonderful book. I should bring it to the Tea Talk, called Original Documents of the American Founding Fathers and that era, not just the Founding Fathers. Because there was a whole 100-year colonial period that was behind the Founding Fathers, that had educated the Founding Fathers. They had been educated in the one-room schoolhouses with the blueback speller that was done by the great Webster. And you read what they had, it's so high level. It's phenomenal. The vocabulary alone exceeds our vocabulary by miles. Well, isn't this pot just beautiful? I want to show it to you again. See that it has the symbols. It has the eagle. Let's see. This is the eagle. Isn't that beautiful? And I've just got some fun, different little things showing on the Tea Talk. You can just have something like this and just put it alongside the cookies. It's a lot of fun. Well, I hope that you have a fabulous 4th of July. And for you who are new in our country of America, I want to say welcome and happy 4th of July. My Kenyans that I teach at the seminary, I want to say a special happy 4th of July to all of you beautiful people. They're so patriotic. Whenever they have an assembly, they will have an American flag, a Kenyan flag. They sing the American national anthem and the Kenyan national anthem, as it should be. Isn't that lovely? And they are hard workers. My Kenyans, many of them have 2 jobs just to support themselves so they can go to school, complete their degree, and then they might be going back to Kenya to teach others or other countries. They have big vision. That's America. And they love America. They understand America. So, God bless all of you, my dear T friends, from the oldest to the youngest. Have a great day with your families. And don't forget to, maybe at the end of the day, have a nice cup of maybe herbal tea after you eat a lot. Peppermint tea is good to settle. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless. And I'll look forward to seeing you next time.